Track. Okay. Okay, YouTube people, I am trying a new streaming software. Okay. So I'm fairly enthused because it does appear to be working. So we'll see if things go as smoothly as one might hope. What am I using? I am using, actually what I'm using was recommended to me by another YouTuber who subscribed to me today, and I'm actually looking on the other screen at how to get back to that guy. Let me look at my notifications. Yeah, ValuAnimation Studios. Value with a V-A-L-U. So what we have is this here, this comment, ValuAnimation Studios. So this is a guy in Brazil that I want to give a shout out to because he recommended trying this software, which is called what is it? Xstream? Kind of stupid to be using the software and not even know what it's called, but I was I was moving fast. Anyway, Extreme Broadcaster, I think it's called. Help about XSplit. Sorry, it's XSplit. There it is. XSplit Broadcaster. So they have a free license, and so what I'm checking out tonight is to see if we're gonna finally have a stream that doesn't kind of blank out every once in a while, which is the problem I was getting with OBS. So now, as I am getting ready to do some OpenTunes work, I'm actually also flipping through Facebook because I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about all that's wrong with the world. Now, Valerie, don't laugh at me. This is serious. What is wrong? Well, let me tell you what's wrong with the world. In the last 24 hours, I've gotten 2 interesting offers on Facebook. Okay, the first offer was for software that makes it dead easy for anybody and his brother to create professional animations. Okay, that's interesting. And the whole plug on YouTube or on Facebook has to do with, it's just so easy. Anyone can do it. You just drag and drop characters in, and now this is basically taking sort of the whiteboard explainer video concept and saying now everyone can do it, and it's so easy and it's so cheap and it's wonderful. Well, literally the same day, I get another offer, and this offer was for creating videos. Okay, this video is like in 5 minutes, anybody and his uncle can create completely professional corporate videos. You've got 10,000 videos to choose from, and then you just set a few options to customize it to your okay, so I think that the entity that's selling this, the two aren't related, I don't think. I think they're completely 2 different offers, okay? But the point is that it is a good thing. It is a good thing to take these capabilities and package them in a way that the average person will be able to just do some dragging and dropping and create something that looks cool. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, do we remember when desktop publishing appeared, you know, on the early Macs? Do we remember the self-published documents with 50,000 fonts, you know, and do we remember PowerPoint? So what I'm saying is, if in fact these tools are good, then what's going to happen is we're going to have a brief window of time, probably in this day and age, as fast as things move, it's going to be a real brief window of time, where all of a sudden we are going to be inundated with really high quality either animation explainer videos or videos. So now it's not just PowerPoint. It's not just little tools to make it easier to maybe use like After Effects and things like that. But it's actually standalone tools that make it so that you can look like a fully professional video producer with a camera crew that goes all over the world, and you've got drones doing cool drone footage, and you got cranes, and you got dolly, you got all this stuff. Well, the thing is, well, all that means is that what I said there's a window of time. The window of time is between now, when the early adopters go, oh, that's so cool, I can finally do it, and it's easy and it's cheap, and I can create this end result that looks this much better than what I ever could have done before, because I just don't have the resources to pull it off. But we're going beyond like stock footage. Hey, Oxer, how's it going? We're going beyond stock footage now. Okay, this isn't just stock footage. This is pre-baked, complete videos that you just swap in a couple different headlines. You know, you start with a template that's oriented towards your type of entity or your type of business, obviously, and they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of templates. So what I'm saying is, there's this brief window of time before that's going to get real old. And everybody that you're trying to impress with these cookie cutter videos is going to be like, okay, I've seen that before. You're not special. You're not exceptional. You're the same thing I've seen 1,000 times. But there will be this window of time where it's going to be cool before it becomes so commonplace and so passé that people go, you know, I'm sick of it. Not impressed anymore. What's interesting about it to me is that between sort of AI-driven stuff and software-driven stuff, which I love software, I develop software, you know, I'm into it, and packaging your capabilities in a way that allows the user to get a better result faster, that is definitely a good thing. But it isn't exceptional. It's only the window of time where people haven't seen it over and over and over, where that's actually going to be valuable. And then it's going to become just another thing that we're all sick of. But the thing about it that's interesting to me is we live in a time and a culture right now where we are so connected, okay, with our phones and our devices. And you're on YouTube watching me right now, so clearly we're connected. But parenthetically, I think what's valuable about that is the connection between me and you. In other words, you, Oxer, or whoever else is out there watching, as my viewer, it's actually not the technology that's cool. It's just the fact that we can make this personal connection. We can have a conversation, you know. It's the people part of it that's cool. But what you see being packaged and sold on Facebook isn't the people part of it. Everything that's happening on Facebook today that we're being inundated with from a marketing standpoint is actually to remove the personal part of it so that you can just essentially what we've always thought was going to happen in the computing world, and it's really taken a long time to fully come to fruition, where it creates a truly professional result. The myth back in the early days in the 90s of CGI was that you push a button and an animation comes out. And of course the people that actually did the work knew that that wasn't true. But the public didn't. And that was the perception. But it was never true. It's actually becoming true now. For the first time, it is true that you're going to be able to create a very professional looking video with super cool slow-mo footage and drone footage and cutaway shots of good-looking people that give us a feeling. Everything you create is going to look like a pharmaceutical commercial. It's wonderful. But I, for one, I'm sick of pharmaceutical commercials. I'm sick of seeing a commercial on TV that tells me this drug is going to make my life so much better, and I see all these happy people and it just dissolves, and they're out doing Tai Chi, you know, they're doing this stuff, and they're all happy. And I look at that and I say, am I really that stupid? Are we, you and me, are we actually that stupid that we're allowing those images to affect us emotionally and actually believe that that drug is a good thing. And then what happens during the last 5 to 10 seconds of the commercial? They tell you all the reason the drug's going to kill you. Now, I'm not saying all drugs are bad. I'm not even making the case that advertising drugs on television is something that shouldn't be allowed. I personally think it probably shouldn't be, but that's just an opinion. Okay? But the point is, this tool that I saw on Facebook that's going to allow you, for probably less than $100 or something. I mean, it's cheap, cheap, cheap. Actually, you can get in and get something done for about $40. So cheap, cheap, cheap. Okay? So you're going to be able to create this cookie cutter video. And in principle, that's not a bad thing. If you have a message you're trying to put out there where there's a good reason to wrap it in that package, then it can be definitely a useful tool. No question about it. But what I've been thinking about is the fact that we are being inundated with this superficial bullshit. I hate to use that term. Can I get kicked off YouTube for saying that? I don't know. This superficial, let's call it baloney. And this is why my YouTube live stream is what it is. Okay, look close, folks. I ain't pretty. And I'm not going to try to pretend that I am pretty. Making an anime is not pretty. Making an anime is not easy. And you know what? I could go that direction. I could go in the direction of only showing you the good stuff. I could go in the direction of I have many cameras. I mean, I've written and directed 8 feature films. I've got all the equipment. You know, if I want to look real beautiful and have 3 lights on myself, and I don't look at the camera anymore. What I do is I look away from the camera and I go, oh yeah, it's been such an exciting project. I mean, it's been so inspiring to see the great creativity that our team has been able to employ. And really, the results have just so exceeded our expectations. Everything's bigger than life. Everything. It's like a DVD behind the scenes crap. It's all a story. It's all pretend. Okay? And so now we're seeing these tools for making explainer video animations and corporate videos. I'm just being drilled with them on Facebook. Every time I get on Facebook, I'm drilled with these offers. And it's all for tools for less than $100 that somehow it's just like magically I can now do what I couldn't do before. Now, let me say this. This is important because it comes back to open tunes. As animators, we're guilty of it too. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Okay? As animators, why do we like open tunes? Why do we like the Blender Grease Pencil? Why do we like open source tools? The reason we like those tools, hey ValuAnimation Studios, thanks again. I'm using XSplit right now. Okay, so that's because of you, man, and I appreciate that. Okay, the reason we like these open source tools is because they're free. And on the surface, we might find something on somebody's YouTube channel that makes it seem like that open source tool, whether it's the Blender Grease Pencil or whether it's Open Tunes or whether it's something else, somehow makes it possible that I can do it. Isn't that why we're here? Isn't that why we're like trying to learn about anime? Because then I could do it. Maybe I could do this too. Maybe this is not out of my reach. Well, on my YouTube channel, I want to do something a little different. I want to tell you the truth. The truth is, it's not out of your reach, but not because of the tool. If you get into the Blender Grease Pencil, or you get into Open Tunes, you're going to, or God forbid, if you get into Krita, trying to do animation, you're going to find out real quick that guess what? There's no magic cookie. You got to learn to draw. You got to learn sticks and balls. You got to learn timing. Have you ever noticed this? You guys, I'll bet you guys will recognize this. You see some new tool that's coming out, like maybe, oh geez, what's the open source vector? I can't remember the name of it, but it's animation software, and what they're doing is, okay, drop frame. Okay. Are we live? I think we're live again. Okay, so even this tool does blank out a little bit. Okay. I hear you, Oxer. I hear you, man. So what I'm saying is that what happens is a new version of Pencil 2D comes out, for example. Okay, so a bunch of people jump on it and they're all excited because it's like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, ValuAnimation Studios. Okay, so everybody thinks it's cool, and then so then some guy on YouTube goes out there and he creates an animation. Says, it's so easy, it's so amazing, it's so cool. This tool's the best. And he creates the animation. The animation looks like this. Everything's moving all the time. There's no timing. There's no holds. There's no acting. There's no talent. Well, I shouldn't say there's no talent. That's a dangerous thing to say. There may be a lot of talent. There may be a lot of talent. There's no skill. There's a difference. Talent is what you're born with. You guys all have talent. What you do with it, how you train it, how you work it, that's your skill. Well, guess what? I don't care what the tool is. You're going to have to work real hard if you ever want to create anything good. You can create something trivial. I did it. You guys that have watched me for a while saw that a year ago I was using the Blender grease pencil. And I went down that road and I tried to make it work, and I went back, and that people are jumping on, and that's cool, and it creates the momentum for the project to get better and better and better. Well, the problem is very rarely do you see those tools actually employed to do something that is, what's the word? I don't want to say good, but you know, that competes favorably with the commercial productions that are out there. So I'm going to tell you a little secret though about the open source software that you're not really going to hear in a lot of places. Here's the secret. Go use Adobe Animate. Go use After Effects. Pay your money. What you're going to find out is those tools have a lot of problems too. Those tools have difficulties. Now, Blender's kind of gone beyond this. Blender's gone in the CGI realm. With CGI, Blender is one of those rare tools that is world class. I would rather use Blender than Maya. Back in 1998, I spent almost $4,000 on 3D Studio Max and plugins. You know how much work I got done? Because even with what they had, and as much as they bragged, and as much as their little demo videos showed that you could do it all, the character animation tools were actually atrocious. They were worse than what Blender had back around the year 2000. I'm not joking. Character Studio was cool, but it didn't really help you much with like lip sync and stuff like that. Really actually making a character emote. It helped you let them walk, you know. So anyway, so I'm like inundated with this stuff, these offers that are calculated to make it look easy. And so you got to make a distinction between people that want to do animation or do creative work or make videos. You got to make, yeah, and I was using Hash back then too. Actually, Hash is, even today, the version of Hash from 2000, you can get quite a bit of work done. I mean, if you want to do character animation, it's still a good, I still have the version of Hash from 18 years ago. But yeah, exactly. Max was terrible. It was great for a lot of things. Great for broadcast animation. It was a fast renderer too. But for character work, forget it. You had to go get a pirated copy of Maya, or you got to pony up whatever it was back then, probably $10,000. You know, it was a lot of money. A lot of money. So anyway, I'm making a distinction between people that want to do creative work and people that are consumers. Now with these platforms on Facebook for doing either animation, whiteboard videos, explainer videos. I mean, I'm sick to death of explainer videos. You know, I've seen it. I've seen a million of them. Somebody needs to come up with a better way to tell the story. Now, animation's part of that. But the pat explainer videos that looks like all the rest, you know, it's gotten old. Yeah, well, Lightwave, I know, and I had a crack of Lightwave too back then. I never got anything done with it. Now, Lightwave had a slow renderer. Man, was it slow. But it looked good. I mean, and people did get work done. You look at Ron Thornton, you know, Raydream wasn't bad. not real good for character work, but it was not bad. It had a very unique look to its render engine, actually. Electric Image was probably used as much as anything in the commercial space for doing like broadcast animations, like corporate logo type stuff, you know, television, sports, you know, graphics, things like that. So so is there a point to all this? Well, the point is that in a way, I think we do people a disservice by having these tools. I can see why people do it, and I can see why you would, if you had that tool, I can see why you'd want to capitalize on it and sell it to as many people as possible. The thinking would have to be that from a corporate strategy standpoint, they're going to accomplish more by selling it cheap to everybody than to sell it expensively to creative types. And that's probably true, because, I mean, let's face it, Alias struggled financially for years. Of course, they got bought out by Autodesk. The Lightwave guys struggled. Everybody that was in that space struggled. Softimage was actually the best. Yeah. Speaking of F Prime, you know, they use Softimage. That's what Mainframe used to do Beast Wars, and I used to love that show. Now I go back and look at it now, and it's pretty awful. But actually, right here on my shelf in front of me, I think I have a DVD of Season 1 of Beast Wars. But here's the thing. What made Beast Wars fun was not the CGI. It was the writing and the voices, right? Yes, right? I mean, come on. Megatron. He was awesome. I had it on my phone for a while. I put on my phone, I did a, I don't know if I can do it now because I've been talking so much my voice won't go low, right? But I did it like, "This is Megatron. You have a call coming in. You will answer it. You will not ignore it. No." I did this. I should have done Rat Trap. "We're all gonna die." It was great, but it was the characters and the writing that made it great. It wasn't the CGI. If it had been a 2D animation, it would have been just as good. I think. I'm sure it would have been just as good. Maybe better. Because actually, if they had done it like an anime type of thing, it would not look dated today, probably. Whereas Beast Wars definitely looks dated today. So, who knows? Maybe Hasbro's going to, like, you know, I gotta believe sometime they're gonna do something again with Beast Wars, because that was such a cool show in its time. Now, Beast Machines looked better, but everybody complained about it because it was so dark. You know, it was just dark and it was too angry, right? So anyway, okay. So what am I doing? Well, what I'm doing today is I'm actually reviewing. I'm just going through the sub-X sheets. Actually, ValuAnimation Studios, are you still on right now? Are you still watching? Poke a message up there if you are, because there's some stuff I'll show you right now about OpenTunes that you would probably be interested in as a Blender grease pencil user. Because one of the things that makes the Blender grease pencil, especially in 2.79, difficult is that okay, so one of the things with Blender that's difficult, if you don't get into organizing your materials, like let's say for some things you would want to map an image to a plane or map an image sequence to a plane, and then you would want to maybe deform it and link to some bones. Okay, now you can do step-by-step animation with the grease pencil, but you can't really do the deformation thing. Okay, so one thing that OpenTunes makes easier is what's called the plastic tool. So in this sequence right here, you see her breathing. This whole sequence, see how she's breathing there? That's one drawing. And then OpenTunes has this thing called the plastic tool that functions just like if you took an image in Blender, mapped it to a plane, and then subdivided it, and then deformed it with bones, and just used shape keys. Okay, so it gives you the benefit of shape keys. But one of the hardest things about the Blender grease pencil in 2.79 is because it's so decoupled from the rest of Blender's animation system. it is hard to organize your work because like you only get one grease pencil object at a time. You're sort of looking to be able to nest, you know, collections of objects and layers and all this sort of stuff, and you really can't do it. It's clunky. You can kind of work around it, and if you look at some of my older YouTube videos, you'll see that I was trying pretty hard. But OpenTunes has this thing called the sub X sheet, and for me, it's a killer feature, which is that this sequence here. Okay, you know, so this is an X sheet, which I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of an X sheet. Each column is you know, a sequence of images or whatever, and you can actually make it horizontal instead of vertical in OpenTunes, so it looks more like a timeline. But if I'll actually use the menus even though I normally don't. If I use the menus here, and I go, I'm so used to, open sub X sheet. What you see is that one column actually is 4 columns in this sub X sheet. So I can go in here, and this one right here is the plastic tool. It actually creates a mesh around your drawing, and if I hit the X key, I can actually manipulate it with bones. Okay, and it works pretty well. It has limitations, but it does work pretty well. So this sequence in my master timeline or my master X sheet is just one column, and you can nest those as deep as you want. Okay, so I have stuff in this. Actually, I want to go in and hide that again. I have stuff in this project where there are X sheets nested like 3 levels deep, you know, and it works pretty well. So anyway, continuing on down here, what I've done is I've actually taken each shot and made it a sub X sheet so that I can go into this shot, and if I need to change things, I can do so, you know, and erase, and you know, and so like yesterday, I went in and actually painted the shading on this wall because it was just gray lines before. So I'm kind of going through and adding detail and sort of building the thing up. And Oxer said, and pin bones work like that. It sort of works like the skeleton tool in that way. So am I back on? My live stream is offline. I blanked out. I think it's going to recover. It's soft though. Okay, so I will tell you ValuAnimation Studios. Another thing that's very powerful, honestly, in OpenTunes is the schematic. As far as I'm concerned, oops, I didn't mean to do that. As far as I'm concerned, the schematic in OpenTunes is at least as good as the node editor in Blender. There's a lot of nodes. This view is used for setting up structures. So for example, if I had a level, let's say this each one of these represents a level, and they're purple because each of those levels are also sub X sheets like I showed you. Okay, so if I had something that was animated with the animate tool, okay, so I'll go into this sub X sheet and show you what I'm talking about. If I go into this sub X sheet and I say, okay, I want her to move around, well, I can hit the animate tool and I could take her whole drawing. Okay, why didn't that work? Okay, I gotta hit undo a couple times. I'm gonna grab this one just to make it easier. Oh, it's because I'm in preview mode. Okay, so if I drag this around, I can rotate, scale, and I can rotate, scale, and position, and also change the center point on any level. Okay, so that allows you to sort of set up puppet-based animations. And my reason to tell you that was that if you go into the schematic view and you actually do exactly what I did here, I have one level that has some animation baked into it, and by taking these other levels and simply connecting them, which I'm not going to do, but if I did, then that level will inherit the animation from the others. So you can actually set up a whole skeleton puppet style animation structure right here in the schematic view, which for me is more intuitive than like a boning system. Honestly, I don't even use the bones tool in OpenTunes. I have yet to run into a situation where it was useful in my workflow. Now some people like it. So, oh yeah, and the other thing about the schematic is that if you flip it to if I flip this, now this is the effects schematic, which means I can take any layer and I can insert any of these effects: distortion, blurs, color correction. I mean, right on down the list. You can insert all kinds of effects. So compared to the node editor in Blender, which I've used a lot. I mean, I've done some post-production in one of my films in particular has a lot of like green screen fake backgrounds, and all the stuff was done in Blender, and this was probably 6-7 years ago. But the node editor in Blender is it's slower. The rendering's slower. Everything about it's slower, and there's really a lot fewer nodes than what you have available to you in OpenToon. So there's that too. As a post-production tool, it's pretty powerful actually. So anyway, onward and upward. What are we doing here? I got those shadows in there. These guys look okay. Okay, yeah, there was one thing about this shot that was whacked out yesterday. OpenToons has its share of bugs, and one of the bugs is that I've had situations where I import an image into a XSheet, and then later OpenToons seems to get confused on the image numbers, and I've had to go in and correct them. So I don't know why that's happened. I've yet to get the right set of circumstances so I can pin down exactly why it took place. But one reason may be that when I bring in external drawings that I did in either Krita or GIMP, that I tend to well, yeah, Oxer, I think I've only gotten 2 drops today though, maybe 3. It's definitely seems to be less than OBS was giving me, so that's an improvement. So I was talking about image sequences. Well, when you bring an image sequence, like if I take my Faststone image viewer, and this is actually a website thing here going on for a client of mine, but if I take this and drag it into OpenToons, which I could do, but I'm not gonna, OpenToons gives me the option to import that art into the folders that OpenToons manages, or just reference it and leave it where it is. I always choose to leave it where it is, but I'm starting to rethink that, because I think one of the reasons sometimes OpenToons gets confused is with referencing external images. Even though I can say that I know for a fact I haven't moved the image, it didn't get deleted, you know, because they're always there. I always go re-find them and reload them. It seems like OpenToons gets confused. So, but having said that, like, and by the way, this is all post-production. I've got 2 instances of this guy, but that's because when I go into render mode, the second one actually gets processed with filters into a shadow. So that's what's going on there. Sometimes there's stuff that looks weird till you render it. But I mean, this is a fairly complex scene, and OpenToons, even though it is buggy here and there, it's proven to be up to the task. So, you know, so these white line or these white spots here are just layers that I added to illuminate the stuff I want your eye to be drawn to, basically. That's that. Then Akari rolls over. So I hope I'm not boring you guys too much tonight. I know I've been ranting, but man, when I was seeing all those Facebook ads, I'm just like, man, this is what is wrong with the world. We need to realize that having these tools that make everything just snap your fingers, it's, you know, there's not much joy in that, to tell you the truth, you know. Yeah, I think it is. Now, I'll tell you the truth, Value. I haven't used Toon Boom. I mean, I've looked at it. I have a crack of it because I wanted to check it out and say, hey, man, if it's the right tool, I pay the money. Okay, yeah. I think that that's probably safer, but with this project, I have not done that. With this project, I've left everything as external files. So in this scene, we have a bit of a problem because, yeah, and here's an example. This is exactly what I was talking about right here. I dragged this image, and I haven't even been on the machine since I did it, so I know it's not my fault. I dragged an image in here that served as the background, and now it's gone. So is it the end of the world? No. I'll delete it. I'm going to open up my image viewer one more time. which I happen to like the fast stone image viewer. Okay, so I'm going to go here to anime. By the way, that's in case anybody's wondering about that, that is a book cover that I painted for a friend of mine who wrote this fantasy novel. Anyway, anime, and I mentioned this in my last live stream. I'm as guilty as sin of kind of not paying attention to where I've saved some images. I will admit that readily. But I think it was in backgrounds. Castle ruins. No. Nope, it wasn't there. Dave's paintings. So this is like a matte painting I did. It actually opens up the anime. Some birds fly through the scene. Yada yada yada. So it's pretty cool. See, another good tool, I will say, another good tool is TV Paint. But as far as I can tell, it's compared to OpenTunes on like what you can do with the plastic tool, as far as bones and hierarchy, it's like the tools are all there, but they're a little clunkier to use. From what I can see, the people, put it this way, there's really good work being done with TV Paint. I mean, professional, really good work. But I think that most of the people that are using TV Paint are using it for frame-by-frame animation. They're not like you and me, because we've used Blender a lot. We're always thinking about boning things up and using hierarchies of stuff and sort of a balance between puppet animation and hand-drawn frame-by-frame animation. That's pretty much what I've done. It's some of it's hand-drawn, but I'm also using all those other tools. Whereas people that are using TV Paint or Clip Studio tend to be, they're fine with just doing frame-by-frame, you know, the Japanese anime style. You just draw everything. If you want something to move, you draw it again. I can't do it. I mean, I'm like, if I draw something and I know it's going to move back, but it's not really going to change, I don't want to draw it 75 times getting smaller and smaller. I just want to have one tool and just shrink it. Yeah, exactly. I'm so used to that I can't stand the idea of having to draw it a million times, you know. So, and OpenTunes actually hits the sweet spot in that regard between the Blender approach and the Clip Studio approach. It's right in the middle. It lets you do both, and it's pretty good at all of it. So anyway, I got to find this this stupid. That's actually my neighborhood right there. Gorgeous shot I took one night. Was it effect shot? No, it wasn't effect shot plates. I really need to be spanked for not knowing this, where this image is that I'm looking for. I don't think it's under images. I think it was under image ref. Backgrounds maybe? Yes, I think it was in here somewhere. Yeah, I could use that. That's the Key Gump exterior that I painted. Okay, let's use that one. Alright, so I'll show you right now how you do it. So I'm going to load it. I'm not going to import it. Okay? And in the case of this image, what I really want to do is resize it. So I'm going to hit A for the animate tool and keep acting stupid. I'm going to save all. And by the way, here's another thing about OpenTunes that I think for me is a win, is that the OpenTunes file format is text based. You can open up the file and look at it and understand what's going on, and if you had to, you could hand tool it in order to solve certain problems. And I've done it because I had a shot that, I don't know how it got screwed up, but by going in and deleting a bunch of stuff that was, I don't remember what it was specifically at this point, but by just deleting the text that referenced some levels that were problematic and I wanted to get rid of anyway, it fixed the problem. So I just edited the file directly. So anyway, there's that. So you can see though that this guy is very much a puppet animation. So that level's just his head. Here we have the plastic tool, which I used to right through here, I just wanted to bend his arm and move it a little bit. So I just took the plastic tool and deformed it, and it worked because it, you know, I didn't have a bunch of frames of interpolation in between like you typically get with CGI where it does a smooth transition. I'm doing it like every 2 frames, so it still has that choppy anime look to it. But the default interpolation is just what you'd expect. You know, there's like ease in and ease out, that sort of stuff. So, all right, I think I solved that. So now what I actually want to do is close OpenTunes because I want to close it and reopen it and see if it lost that picture again. Because if it did, I'm gonna be like, man, what is going on, dude? What is going on? Hey guys, what is the what's the video quality that you're seeing on this live stream? Because what I'm seeing on my little monitor is pretty blurred out and choppy. So, and I don't know if this XSplit, if it has like reduced my bandwidth or something in order to keep it from blanking out. I'm kind of curious what you guys are seeing. Come on, where are we? Ah, there we go. Oh, and it's still there, so that's great. Okay, cool beans. Got that going on. And I think for this, I guess, oh, I lost it there too. Doggone it, it did the same thing there. Alright, well, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to cry like a baby. I'm going to delete that and just do the same thing again. I'm going to use the same exact image right there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it is. Okay, and actually what I'm seeing is good again too. Yeah, that's not really acceptable to me. I'd rather, frankly, I'd rather have the dropouts than have the... If you guys were seeing what I was seeing, it looked pretty bad. Okay, which to me is not really acceptable. So I might have to dial it in. I'm sure I will. Animation tool. So now I'm going to take the animate tool and do the same thing. I'm going to scale this guy up because I really only want to see the sky. Okay, maybe a little bit of those buildings in the background. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll go with it. I'll reserve the right to change my mind later. Save all, as I like to say, save early, save often. Okay, so that's it for this sequence. Once again, I guess saving my work, and then I'm going to go to the ninjas enter. The ninjas enter. This is so much fun. I can't even believe how much fun it is. Okay, so now we're inside the room, and Akari goes, what is going on? I suspect there's some mischief afoot. And indeed, this bad boy is entering her room. So he climbs up there, and okay, why did we lose our shadow right there? That's interesting. But the only way I can know is to go down into the sub X sheet and see what's going on. This one has a lot of columns. I must say, it's got a lot of columns. But there he goes. Oh, that's it. I guess that's all we get. Okay, so why have we lost our background here? So anyway, yeah, I mean, talk about bugs. That is one thing about... Oh, I know why. Never mind. This shot, actually, at this point where the sky disappears, we're not actually using this shot. It stops there and then picks up down here. I forgot I did that. I really should probably save this scene twice and split it in half so that each one is its own thing. So, okay, so that's that. Now, wait a second. These guys get down here. Oh, wait. Sub-X sheet. Sorry. My bad. Okay, yeah. So now we've got this shot where Ninja 2 is kicking around. And what time is it? 8:25. We're doing okay on time. So then these guys are struggling to get in. He accidentally hits the vase. The guy rushes over to catch it before it wakes up Akari. But to no avail, because we're going to find out in the next shot that she's awake and has a knife stuck in his back. So what are we going to do? Well, why don't we do this? We've been wanting to get to this, haven't we? So let's do a little animation, because animation's fun. All right. If you've been watching for a while, you suffered through my ranting and raving for how long? How long have we been going? I'm used to OBS, and I don't see where it tells me how long I've been streaming, but it's been a while. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab... Okay, now this isn't cool. Why? Oh, there it goes. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the opacity of this level and turn it down. All right. That way I can go here and hit the B key, which lets me draw. And by the way, if you're still around, Value, you want to know that OpenToons has the My Paint brushes built into it. So right now I'm actually drawing with My Paint brushes, which I happen to, for doing the pencil tests, I love it. I love it way better than the brushes built into OpenToons. Okay, that didn't take. Okay, so now we've got to, the good news is we get to draw. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, so Shift spacebar lets me zoom in. Okay. Excuse me. You know, I'm actually thinking about maybe having me a martini. I'm thinking about a gin martini right now. That's what I'm thinking about. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a martini. Maybe not. Okay, actually, that's not going to work. It's got to be a little higher because he's got the wrap. Okay. Boom. 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 Okay. Now this will ultimately be inked, but I want to get it fully drawn in there. So I'm going to go ahead and draw it sketchy. I don't have any illusions about using these pencil lines as my final ink lines. Even though you could, technically you could. One of the limitations of the level I'm working on right now, which is known as a raster level, is there really is no fill tool. So you really need to go to what's called a Toons raster level to be able to do fills. But in the Toons raster level, you don't get the My Paint brushes. So I'm sure that's all going to be sorted out one of these days, but it's not a big deal. Once it comes time to do ink, the My Paint brushes work great. Now this is the guy who's got the Naruto hair, I guess somebody calls it. So he's got this kind of thing going on. All right, and okay, so let's go ahead and my comic book drawing inclinations are coming out. I was always a big fan of John Buscema. I mean, that was what I was into, man, when I was in high school. It's John Buscema and Frank Frazetta, pretty much. But my art teacher got mad at me because I would always draw. I'd always draw guys with their hands like this. There's always like these real Frazetta type crazy contortions, and she'd be like, "You know, Dave, you just need to learn to draw," you know, instead of copying Frank Frazetta all the time. So she was right. She was right. But man, she hated me. Okay, that looks stupid. Okay, sometimes I get talking and I'm not really like paying attention to what I should be doing here, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to concentrate better. Okay, that's better. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's definitely better. Okay, let me see. Let's go ahead and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this down to here. Now when I start drawing here, boom, it's going to stick in a new keyframe for me. And by hitting the comma and the period key, I can toggle between them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I don't tend to actually use onion skins. Oh, dropped frames again. Come on, dude, really? Oh gosh, I mean, he was in a bunch of my movies. clerical errors, he was actually the star. Okay, so, you know, how detailed and perfect does this need to be? Well, it is moving fairly quickly, that's for sure. Okay, this has got to go like that and like that. 'Cause these are actually like, you know, he's a ninja, so he's got these like slipper things going on. Okay. Just checking the YouTube action, see if anybody's paying attention. Whee! It actually, I should have stopped it here because if I'm not mistaken, the sequence actually repeats twice. That's kind of what makes it funny, if the truth be known. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot there and a dot there, which inserts the keyframes. So I can actually start toggling between them right now. So sometimes I see this stuff and I go, well, you know, maybe anatomically or whatever, it may not be like if I really wanted to make this perfect, I could go like this. Come back here, hit the S key, grab this, Control C, go to the next drawing, Control V. You know, it's nice that you can do that. Now, should I do that? Well, yeah, but at the same time, maybe I should, you know, shift it a little bit. Maybe a slight rotation, just so there's some kind of change. Yeah, that works. Okay, so let's go to the next drawing. And by the way, on this one, I'm going to hit the erase. Did he have... Hang on a second. I'm going to go ahead and jump into Vegas and load the project just because I need to have it open so I can refer to the work that I've already done, and mainly for like checking costumes, because it's embarrassing how often, you know, you're moving fast and I literally forget what my guy was wearing, and I will totally screw up the costuming. Trust me, I've done it a zillion times. Okay, so now this actually might be even more comedic if it is the same from here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control C, Control V, and now all I got to do is redraw the legs, right? So that's kind of cool. Okay, so that's going to be kind of Still got 3 watching. What you working on, babe? Okay. Alright. Is that okay? It's not perfect, but it is actually okay. I'm not quite buying this, and I do think his feet are too big. Okay, so let's fix that. Let's do it this way. Let's grab this. Okay, that went horribly wrong. Let's try that again. Let's hit this like that, and then let's move the center to here. Well, actually, let's move the center to there, so I can then just scale that a little bit. So isn't that nice? Isn't it nice that you can do that? That's cool. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely didn't like the... Okay. Now, this doesn't really read very well. I'm going to say that was probably poor practice on my part as an animator. I really should have that foot out that way so that it reads in silhouette. You guys, if you guys are up on your animation practice, you know that stuff's supposed to be able to read in silhouette. Okay, we're almost done actually. S key, I'm going to grab all this, Control C, go to the next drawing, paste it in, and this is probably my favorite drawing right here. This one's going to be fun. Alright, so the cartoon of it basically is this. Alright, so let's follow the principle of curve against straight line. Straight line here, so therefore curve here. There's the line. Jump, jump, jump. Almost done. Getting there. Okay. It's so awkward, man. Like no one could ever really, you know, be in that position. But the thing is, okay, why have we got... What the heck? Why is that drawing there? Something strange afoot, I think. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is definitely kind of fun. All right, Control C, Control V, and then we don't need those last four. So grabbing that, and I'm going to hit Auto Markers and hit the L key. Yeah, it worked. Okay, so one of the questions I needed to ask was, am I going to go ahead and show this guy standing up? I kind of feel like on the prior shot we covered it. I mean, the audience knows that he's going from a... He's not really crouched, but yeah, it is fun to use. It's... You know, what I'm looking for, I don't want to fight the tool, okay? Basically, I don't want to fight the tool. If I'm here to draw, I want to draw. And like I said, OpenToon seems to hit the sweet spot. You can do what you want to do. What you intended to do, you can just do it. It's not, you don't feel like you're fighting it all the time. Of course, with Blender, with the grease pencil, as cool as it is, I feel like I'm always fighting the tool. I'm always trying to get it to do something that it doesn't quite want to do, you know? So, but that's just me, you know? I'm sure once 2.8 gets out there and gets the bugs out, I'm sure there's going to be some people doing more cool stuff, you know, with Blender, with the grease pencil for sure. But actually, I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I think I'm going to call it a night and hang it up, because I am starting to get tired. That's what happens when you get old, people. You get tired quicker. So, anyway, it's been fun. I hope it's been helpful. Value. I appreciate, again, the software. As you can see, I'm using it. There it is. XSplit. Does seem to be a little better than OBS. Yeah. But, we'll see. I may try to dial in OBS better too. So, but anyway, that's it for tonight. I will catch you guys next time. All right. Thanks.